Hi there. Welcome to our webinar on the dowsing rods, our tool of the week for January 8th, 2024. 2025. Oh my goodness. All right, I'll get off autopilot here. Thank you all for being here today. We're going to step in and talk the dowsing rods. Hey, Lee, good to see you. Hey, is my feed being really delayed and slow? It's being really choppy on my side. Just wanted to make sure. Oh, it is laggy. Okay, that's what I was afraid. That's very strange. Let me see what we can do about that. Gosh, I'm not sure if there's anything I can do about that. Hey, good morning. Good to see you here, Suzanne and Jeff. And thank you, Malik. So, yes, we're going to talk about the dowsing rods today. So, traditionally, they are called the golden fire and light dowsing rods because they are fashioned and connected with the golden fire and light rods, which are the wands, the brass wands that we make the miniature and the practitioner size. The practitioner sized is the same size as the dowsing rod in length. So these wands, the golden fire and light wands, are something that I've taught, gosh, several years, a dozen years on anchoring columns of light. And these columns of light you can anchor into like cell phone towers, homes. So when we talk about dowsing, so a professional dowser, if you hire a dowser to come into your home to look for, you know, in their jargon, nauseous energies. These can be everything from the intersecting of geomagnetic lines that then will create vortices, and these vortices, and sometimes they can create portals out of these vortexes. So basically, some of these vortexes can be non-beneficial. Geomagnetic lines can also carry energy information through them. So if you have a geomagnetic line that runs through, like, let's say, a maximum security prison, and then it runs straight into your house, it's carrying that energy and information with it. Um, Also, with the geomagnetic lines, there's things called geopathic stress lines. And we'll get into more of this, but basically, when a professional dowser comes in, they find these nauseous energy lines, whether they're intersecting geomagnetic lines or perhaps they are, one of the things that you can find is how far the field extends from your electrical panel or your smart meter. And you can determine how far that field comes out. You can find if there are ghosts, waywards in the home, whatever it is that the dowser looks for that is within their perspective, their reality. They can find these. So most dowsers are looking for those subtle energies that do affect you in your home. And so basically, you go in as a professional dowser, you would dowse out, you would find and record, whether it's the geomagnetic line intersections, whatever it is that you find in the home. Perhaps it's geopathic stress, portal vortexes, whatever it is. The dowser would then go back out to the car, or, if they have their privacy in the home, and just simply set in the meditation to anchor the column of light into the space. And then they can go back through and double check to see that they cleared everything. So when you use these to anchor a column of light, it's a harmonizing field. So yes, it's going to harmonize the electrical field that comes out of your panel. It will harmonize any of those vortexes that come in, those intersecting and geomagnetic lines, and it'll clear the energies that come through those geomagnetic lines. So then you're not picking up and receiving, all that outside stuff. And then if you live in downtown areas like, downtown Chicago, they have a lot of the 5G millimeter wave broadcasters down there. I don't know if they still do. They did in 2019. I mean, they were all over. And but it is a limited technology again. But the 5G millimeter wave is a pretty rough one. When that connects into your household electric, that can flow through the electric in the home. So again, anchoring a column of light is going to clear all of those energies. Um, all right. Hey, Renard, good to see you here this morning. So, yes, the dowsing rods. So, I'll tell a little bit about the dowsing rods. They have a sealed ball bearing swivel in the handle. So, these are on a ball bearing. They are very smooth and very sensitive. So, usually, when a person comes in and picks up a dowsing rod, like when I go to shows and stuff, people will sit there and they're like, holy crap, it's spinning out of control, and just people have a lot of fun with it because it just sits there and spins. How I explain that is that it is getting you grounded, centered, aligned, and it is giving you an attunement to this ancient etheric tool, to the etheric templates. So this particular rod, when you use it, you have to be in the heart space, and that's way with any dowsing. So when I started teaching dowsing, and I've been a keynote speaker for the American Society of Dowsers a couple times. Well, once, and I've gone out there and spoke several times. But anytime we teach dowsing, I usually teach the same class, and it's about going into the heart space. Or any modalities. Radionics is another one because they also use a form of dowsing in radionics. It's called a stick plate, a rub plate. Um, Anytime that you are getting that biofeedback, when you are seeking an answer to something, um, it's so easy to make it up here, believe it. You play the game, and it's mental. Um, so when you do any of the work for dowsing, when you are seeking answers, it's always be in that heart space. So when you move into that sacred space of the heart, you don't get all confuzzled with your answers, because the mind, the emotions, almost every decision you make is emotional based. You can justify it with logic, but it's emotional based. And so if you go into the heart space and you are seeking the answers there, your yes or no answers, it is more in alignment than if you're getting the answers from the head, because your mind will lead you astray. That's the human mind. It makes up the stuff, believes it to be true, and then you play the game. Um, Gosh, Suzanne, no, I don't think I'll be coming to Cali this year for the Dowsing convention. Possibly, but most likely not. We're not doing as many events here this year. I will be at the Conscious Life Expo coming up, though, Suzanne. That is in LA at LAX, and that's in February, about a month from now, 5 weeks. I'll be at the Conscious Life Expo. I will be doing a workshop there, but not on dowsing. So with the dowsing rods, again, let's see. I did have a question from email about the energetic updates on these. So the dowsing rods, yes, they're still the golden fire dowsing rods, but it's kind of like when we brought in that expansive light energetics. When that expansive light energetics came in, it changed the golden fire. I mean, it shifted it. So this does have the expansive light energetics, which has mellowed it out a lot. It's shifted it. And two, this energetic was created in a different time. It was a time where we were really we were being light warriors. We were clearing the dark and clearing the entities and fighting the dark and all that fun stuff. And so really, to me, the purpose of the dowsing rod has changed quite a bit from this new perspective. So like when I go in and I would use a dowsing rod, and I would go in, and instead of anchoring columns of light afterwards, you know, you can totally do a column of light. For me, it's just everything is light. I don't really differentiate between a column of light and anything else. But Yeah, it's a different perspective. So I have a harder time making columns of light because to me, everything is light. They're just different frequencies, different flavors of light. And so to me, when you come in and you hold light for a space instead of anchoring a column of light, which is what we, traditionally what we do with these, um, I just hold a space from the heart. So we'll walk through, how you can utilize this to clear the space after you found out what's going on. So anyway, kind of back to the basic use is it's about being in the heart space, grounded, connected. So you take your three breaths. You take your breath from earth into the heart, breath from creation into the heart, and then you become grounded and connected. And when you're there, you've moved into the heart space, you're not as influential on what comes to the dowsing rods because it is your higher self, your consciousness, which answers all the questions. You step into your knowingness. But just like all of our knowingness, it can be influenced, perceived in a different way, filtered. And so that's why being in the heart space is really, really the key to doing this work because then you're not making up the stuff. You're not trying to project your will into it all because truly it's about bringing your light to it. So again, traditionally, the columns of light that we would anchor, um, we walk into a meditation, which we'll do here. And part of this meditation, the attunement to the dowsing rod, is because this is an ancient etheric tool. This tool, because when we were looking to create these dowsing rods, probably like a dozen years ago, my sister and I were taking all the things that you could do in the dowsing field, which is using your own heart based imagination, visualization, intention, and you can clear these geomagnetic lines. So when I was teaching a dowsing class years ago, we would always take like what Slim Sperling did. He would make staples that look kind of like this. They were just an L-shaped rod cut at sacred measures. He would just simply use like a $5 welding rod. It's steel covered in copper. And he would cut it to a sacred measurement and he would make a little staple like this that would simply stick into the ground. So, what traditionally Slim Sperling would do, and others, is they would find these geomagnetic lines. There are several different styles of geomagnetic lines. There's geopathic stressors. There are ley lines, which are kind of rare. You usually don't run into ley lines, but there's a Hartman grid, a Curry grid. There's several different grid lines of the earth that flow all over. Some of these are, like small squares. So with these grid lines, and there, it's not that they are detrimental or anything like that, but you can receive one, you can get the knots that create vortexes. Two, you can also have some that do carry non-beneficial information with them. And so it used to be that you would find that incoming line that comes into the home, and you would take your staple and you would stick it into the ground right outside the home. So that way, that incoming geomagnetic line would hit the staple and would go up and over or down and under. So I forgot my staples when I was teaching a class of dowsing at a local library. And so I was like, well, let's just try this. So we went into the heart space and we just visualized and imagined that these geomagnetic lines that would come in instead of hitting staples, we imagined a bubble around the library. And these geomagnetic lines would come in and they would go up and over, down and under, or around the non beneficial ones. Now, I actually created a tool at one time that cleared all the geomagnetic lines in my space, and I thought I was going to die. I called my sister right away, said, "Hey, what's up?" She's like, "Take that thing apart." And we electromagnetic, geomagnetic is a part of us too. And so that's the grounding of the heart, the connection that we do as we do the Trinity breath. So the connection with the earth is huge. You don't want to disconnect yourself from it. So the geomagnetic lines are not inherently bad at all. Um, so as we were, finding these ways that we could do the clearing with consciousness work, my sister and I were working with creating this dowsing rod for our friend Shell Darling at Golden Light Dowsing. And so in there, we wanted to put into the etheric templates where my sister and I were working. We wanted to put in there all those potentials of what you could do, like with the geomagnetic lines, moving them around. Um, you can clear underground fissures, geopathic stress lines, close portal vortexes, all this stuff you can do with consciousness. So we put all of that into the tool, the etheric template. So all of that is the potentials, that field is held within this rod. So we can use this as a tool, as an energetic tool. So it is here in the physical, but we're using it as an energetic tool. So once we find the things that we wish to clear within the home, then we do the meditation. So here's what we can do with the meditation. And I'm just going to get in here and check out the chat. Yeah. Dowsing, yeah. For dowsing, man, pendulum has always been the tool for me. Dowsing rods take me, they take me on a journey. Like if I go out, we have the Fairburn agate beds near here. So if I go out looking for a football-sized agate worth like $6,000, it doesn't allow me to find them. So yeah, when I go out and I'm looking for things for fun, like agates or fossils or ancient alien artifacts in Mexico, they usually take me around in circles. But with a pendulum, I can do very well. And even anymore with dowsing, mm, it's kind of one of these things that I started to step into more just like knowingness. I could walk by and be like, oh, that hot water heater element's about to go out. I suppose I should probably change that. And instead, I'm like, for an example, instead, I'm like, you know what? No, I can understand things in my world, and this is what it is. And it puts you in this place of having to traverse the world. It's like you're in a maze. Do I go this way? Do I turn this way? Do I do this? Do I do this? You can really get caught in in that machio, in trying to traverse the world in that way. So what I do anymore is, oh, that hot water heater, I have the knowingness that that's going out, or else maybe my dowsing rod or pendulum told me something. And instead of changing my direction, I say, no, that hot water heater element is fine. It's not going out. Everything's grand. And then you just keep moving. So instead of changing your direction and traversing the world by the answers that you get, step in as a master and say, hey, okay, I found that there is this, this choice, and this one isn't good. Bring your light to it. Anchor column of light, bring your light to it, and then check it again. Same with food and supplements. You can find a food or a supplement may not be beneficial to you. Change it, check it again. And for me, 99 times out of 100, it changes. So don't get stuck in dowsing or pendulums, muscle testing, dowsing rods. They're grand, but really, like this dowsing rod, the purpose is to find it and to change it. So, let's see. Okay, So here we go. We'll do a couple meditations. We'll do the original meditation for this for anchoring columns of light. All right. So here we go. Closing your eyes, putting your attention to the physical heart where you find your light. And just breathe. Breathe in that energy of the earth into the heart, connecting fully with the earth. Connecting with you as soul, as creator God, breathing in the light of you, being soft and allowing the light of you. In the third breath is where you are grounded, connected, supported, and in the heart space. So now then, imagine, if you will, this golden light rod. To me, energetically, this light rod, which we have anchored into this brass rod, it's like this glowing, golden, multicolored, fuzzy, multi-sounds rod. It's about 20 inches long. And it is something that the soul wields. Beautiful. So as you receive that golden light rod, we also ask that you receive that sacred heart activation, that golden fire, that trifold gold flame heart that you always see with Jesus and Mary, but beyond religion. It is the sacred heart. So take a deep breath in, asking your soul to activate that sacred heart. If you imagine the soul and it's a light body or a being, it puts its hand on your heart, and you take a deep breath in, you release, and you allow that sacred heart activation. So with that sacred heart activation, you have all of that golden fire, and it is a facet of your soul's light. This golden fire, it's a facet of your light. And it is powerfully transformative. So we bring this column of golden fire and this ancient etheric tool, this golden light rod. So we're going to imagine bringing both this light rod, a column of golden fire, and all of your passion, love, light, compassion, and wisdom into this column of light. And stay away from the mental of, oh, I'm going to fix or heal or clear or get the boogeyman out or whatever. No, those are side effects of bringing in your light and allowing your consciousness to affect that space. So now imagine that column of light, perhaps in your space. You can paint it with other flavors of an essence of what you want it to be, not details, but perhaps the broad brushstrokes of the space for creativity, the space for connection, the space for healing. Broad brushstrokes of what you want to bring in, other essences of what you want this space to be for you. So we're creating your personal space. Beautiful. And that is just in the form of a light column. So this light column will stay for as long as is needed, if not indefinitely. Okay, so the way that I anchor light anymore is just so similar. It is simply everything we did, but I don't visualize it as a light column that is separate from the space. I visualize the space as being that light. Light is everything. It's consciousness. It's what patterns energy. Energy is benign. Energy is just there to serve you. It doesn't have agendas. It's not there to teach you lessons or spiritual growth or abundance or lack of abundance. It is just energy. It is your light, your consciousness, which patterns this energy. So when I step in and I see a space, I see it as light that is just maybe not patterning in the highest potential. Maybe it's patterning to create some discordant field. So to me, when I visualize the space, the field, all I do is I bring in my light in an allowing way to harmonize the space. So just bringing in harmony, light, hopono ono, gratitude, compassion. Compassion is allowing something to be as it is, as it needs to be. So when you bring your compassion to a situation and a space and your light, you are allowing it to shift on its own terms and not you projecting or force or bringing an agenda. You leave your agendas out of the light because then it opens up the field for miracles. And that is the most self-empowering way to do it, to do the space, to clear that space. You can use the tools, they are great for the mind. But you are a powerful creator. We just did that same work without even using a tool. But again, I would love to sell you a dowsing rod. They are grand. Tools are great. And so are you. But if you do want a dowsing rod, we have them in singles and in pairs. The dowsing rods, we have a coupon code here for the week for 12% off. So the dowsing rods, simply put in DR12, Dr. 12 for dowsing rod 12, and that is the coupon code to get 12% off for this week. And if you are watching this today or tomorrow here on Thursday, you can win a dowsing rod by submitting to the photo challenge contest. The winner this week will receive a dowsing rod, and the photo challenge contest is tensor field generators. So like the tensor field generator, I have my microphone. If you take some photos of tensor field generators and the way that you're using them and you're chosen, we will send you a dowsing rod on Friday. So any questions? There are some old videos on, so if you want to dive more into, the dowsing rods and doing the work with energies that are discordant energies to harmonize them, again, all the old ways that we use the dowsing rods for are still absolutely perfect and fine to use that for anchoring columns of light. Again, for me, I just really like to it's just another step in the evolution of the way we utilize light, because light is everything and light is everything. So the traditional way that we use this to anchor light is absolutely perfect. So just do, and that's it. We've traditionally always tried not to give instructions that come with the tools because we've always been told that limits them, that puts them in a box. And I don't want to say that you can't do something with any of the tools because, man, truly your imagination is the limit, and our imagination is expanding so much on a daily basis because that is our light. And the more light and conscious we have, the grander of our imaginings, and our imaginings are the reality creators anymore. Um, and it's not a mental imagining. It's that heart based. So again, when you go into the space and just be in your heart and just trust yourself and the processes that you do. Keep it simple. Don't try to analyze and make it complicated because then you go back to the mind. Keep it simple, stay in the heart, and follow your own guidance and intuition on how to use any of the tools, and especially the dowsing rods. But yeah, they're a lot of fun. Really a high crafted quality item. The welding on these is something else. That's a tough one to weld brass, the brass rods. But anyway, yeah. If no other questions, we will end her there today. And yeah, thank you guys for all being here. And we'll see you on Friday for 50 questions. All right, take care.